Hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. I've got Jesse Moeller with me at jmoeller05 and Jeremy Schulman at FF_Rebel. I always call you Rebel because when I type it in, I put at Rebel, and that's how your tag comes up. So I didn't realize you have the FF first. Go figure.
Listen, there's some at Rebels on Twitter. I don't know what they do. I don't know what I do, but hey, that's the handle. So we're gonna roll with
I can relate to that. We are here for the Week 12 Fantasy Football Waiver Wire. But before we do that, I guess let's go ahead and recap the Monday Nighter, which I kind of found to be disappointing based on what we were expecting between the two teams. So we have the Eagles pull out a win 21-17 over the Chiefs. Go figure. Eagles move to 8-1, Chiefs to 7-2. I'll recap the fantasy stat lines here. We have Hurts, 150 passing and 1 interception. He only had 29 yards on the ground. 2 rushing touchdowns saved his day. Gotta love the brotherly shove or tush push or whatever they call it. That's the only thing saving his value at this point in the season. We have Patrick Mahomes, 177 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 interception, 38 yards on the ground. He was still better despite the fact he had 1 touchdown less. The running backs, we have DeAndre Swift had 12 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown, 3 for 31 through the air. Nothing useful for Gainwell or Scott. Pacheco had 19 carries for 89 yards and 1 for 2 through the air, and nothing else there. So basically it was Swift was a good game. Pacheco didn't kill you, but, he was just there. We have 2 good receiving stat lines, and they're not who you would expect. Devonta Smith would be the less surprising one, 6 for 99. Julio had 2 for 5, and AJB had 1 for 8 and was heated on the sideline because that's what AJ Brown does. Justin Watson had 5 for 53 and a touchdown. Rashee Rice, 4 for 42. Kadarius Toney, 2 for 12. Mecole Hardman, nothing really. Sky Moore, and MVS with the biggest drop of the season. We'll wrap it up here. We got tight ends. Travis Kelce had 7 for 44 and a touchdown. Lost a fumble to keep him under 20 points. Nothing from the Eagles, who might be getting Dallas Goedert back next week. Kickers were both crap. Defenses were both average. Didn't help you, didn't hurt you. What do you guys think about this one here? It's kind of a weird one. Some of the stat lines, the good ones you wouldn't expect, like Swift, I guess, and Pacheco, but down here, I wouldn't have expected that from A.J. Brown. Justin Watson was unpredictable there. It's kind of a weird game.
Yeah, Rashee Rice only ran 26 routes of 50, and it's because he's not that good of a blocker, so it kind of sucks for him. But overall, yeah, it's just a weird game. Good defenses. It's happened sometimes. They shut down the offenses, and I think Kansas City had 0 second half points, so that's like the biggest takeaway. They've struggled dramatically in the second half, so happened again this week.
Yeah, for me, the Philly game script kind of went how I expected it to on offense. They slowed the game down. They ran the ball a ton. What was really surprising for me was Kansas City and how much they ran the ball and how much they were able to run the ball. Pacheco is just kind of a monster, even against a really good Philly D. It was good to finally see Watson convert, but he still had a ton of terrible drops. I actually started him in a few spots where I was needy because he almost caught that touchdown the week prior. But that was, you don't expect him to be the leading receiver when you have Rashee Rice, who should be commanding the routes and targets there. So, weird game. They didn't get to the over either. So, what are you going to do? Aaron, I think you're muted.
Yeah,
I muted mine because I had to cough, and then Jesse muted his to talk to a nurse. What I was trying to say was, would you tell that nurse you're talking to we would appreciate it if she would do her job a little quieter? I mean, I realize she's saving lives and doing important stuff, but come on, fantasy football here. Talk a little quieter, please.
Amen.
It's the most important.
Yes, far more important. So 2 elite teams here. I think you dismiss a good portion of it. The bad games were 2 good defenses, so Jalen Hurts is kind of interesting. Not a great game here. Like I said, he was living on 2 tush pushes to make him fantasy relevant. That kind of saved your day. Jalen Hurts scores twice in sloppy win. That pretty much sums it up, though. He's
he's got rushing touchdowns on the year already. It's how he's living. It's great.
If they ever find a way,
But-
see, this is the thing. I think I know we're not specifically talking dynasty here, but if I have him in dynasty, I think I'm looking to sell. I can't see how they don't outlaw this play in the offseason, along with that hip drop tackle that's getting everyone hurt. I think those are the first two things they outlaw this offseason. And if they outlaw that tush push, I think his rushing touchdowns plummet.
Well,
Yeah,
not
but,
only
like,
that,
it's not-
but
not
Jason
a dangerous
Kelsey's
play, though.
gone, right? Yeah, I just wanted to add the point that Jason Kelsey's retiring, right? He's announced that, I believe, or so. Like those two things in combination are brutal for Hurts for sure.
Yeah, I think like the hip drop one has way more credibility because you're seeing guys get actively hurt. It's just physics, right? Because the way like they're pulling on their bodies and it causes the body to go one way. With the tush push, you're just pushing a guy going forward and no one's really getting hurt from it. So like I think if it starts getting injuries, then yeah, I can see the case for it.
Every other team that tries it gets hurt. The Eagles aren't getting hurt. Everybody else gets hurt. That's the problem.
Yeah, you got Justin Simmons or whatever his name is, spearing dudes for the Josh Dobbs.
And catching touchdowns. The one thing I do want to talk about, though, is Patrick Mahomes. Since we had our fantasy court, Aaron, Mahomes has gone from QB6 to QB13.
You know what? And I seen his stat line, and I almost tweeted, or I almost messaged you. Might be a good time to tweet out our good buddy Dennis, but I didn't want to get involved. So I was expecting to see you tweet him.
I retweeted it, but I didn't tag him. Just out of kind of deference to his fandom. But the real issue here for me is the 26 drops for Kansas City, worst in the league. Like I said, Watson had a great game, but he still had at least 2 or 3 drops that were credited, and plenty more really bad plays. Obviously, MVS, like it's just terrible. The fact that, and Jesse, I responded to you on your tweet earlier today. The fact that they didn't go out and get someone, I don't know who they would have gotten, to your point, but the fact that they didn't address this wide receiver room, whether it be in the offseason or before the trade deadline, is just a problem. And you're just seeing it continue to manifest itself. And that's the reason they lost this game. Mahomes was really good.
It's funny you brought up fantasy court, though, because that's the single worst thing for me for fantasy court. Through 3 episodes of it, after every week, I have to deal with being tagged in one of the posts by one of the 2 people gloating that the other person was wrong. And it goes on all season long. All season long. So.
I love it.
Right. Kansas City's just pulling those pocketbooks in. They could have had, like, DeAndre Hopkins or even Adam Thielen, but they didn't want to sign to long-term deals, and they're regretting that decision now. Both those guys have helped a lot.
If they had just put up money or whatever, like they could have had someone like, I don't know, like it's outside the box, but they could have probably even had Tyreek Hill. I feel like he probably would have been all right.
But then they're missing like Creed Humphreys. They're missing some of those defenders that they got in that deal. So like their team's worse on the other end of the spectrum, right? So like it's just, you win or you lose depending on that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the waiver wire here. We'll start with the QBs. I have mine, like I said, tiered as usual because the site is back up. So I have 4 options. Shallow leagues is 70 to 80% is my cutoff line. Medium is 50 to 70% owned. Deeper is 25 to 50, and dart throws less than 25. There's a lot of dart throws this week because it's the season of the backup injury quarterback. So that's where 90% of them are. Shallow options, we've got guys who are mostly owned everywhere. Howell is my favorite here at 79%, Kyler at 77, Dobbs at 71. If they're available in any of your leagues in any formats, they're worth rostering, even in single QB at this point. Medium options, we have both Stafford and Love in the 46, 47% range here. I think they're both more likely injury replacements if you're in single QB, or they're your QB2 in Superflex. Deeper options, Will Levis or Baker Mayfield. That's incorrect. These are supposed to be 56 and 57. You'll have to excuse me. I was slightly tired and sick this week, and my numbers didn't make sense. But Will Levis and Baker Mayfield, obviously, I think I'd much rather have Baker at this point. And the dart throws are pretty much name your backup quarterback and pick who you'd like to play. They're all, with the exception of DTR, who's at 11%, they're all 5% or less. We got Flacco, who could be the starter in Cleveland, Browning, who could be the starter, Tommy DeVito, Aiden O'Connell, Tim Boyle. Like, it's messy, and these are basically just, I lost my starter, and it's super flex, and I have to drop my fab here to to get one. You'll also notice my article used to have a dollar value up here next to the highlighted player. It no longer does because at this point in the season, go get what you need. If you just lost Joe Burrow, I don't give a shit what you need. If you need to stay alive, go drop your money on whatever quarterback you know. If you think DTR is the one, or if Dobbs is available, go drop your remaining fab because Fab doesn't do you any good if you miss the playoffs. But what do you guys like out of this group?
That bottom row is so gross. I really don't even want it. I will say the one guy not listed on there is Derek Carr because he's been dealing with injuries and he's below 50% in some leagues. So you could do him along with like the Baker Mayfield tier and like you get a passable starting quarterback. That bottom tier, man, you're hanging on the edge. Like I don't want to go down there.
Yeah, you're better off plugging in Taysom Hill probably than most of those guys down there. I am intrigued by obviously the top list. Like if any of those three guys are available, just scoop them up immediately. I drop everything for sure. Jordan Love is intriguing too. I know he's up and down, but he's putting it together. And if those young receivers are on and they're getting open, he's been able to find them. It's just a matter of what's happening. Jordan Love on the Green Bay Packers. I was going to say I thought that was if he's playing Denver. You're going to be concerned. So just look out for the matchups here, but certainly like you want to make sure that, between any of those five guys at the top or even Baker, I'm good. Levis, no thanks. And the rest, no thanks.
That's something interesting you brought up though, Jesse. And I've seen it actually on Twitter, but I don't know the actual, the numbers to see whether it's the data supports it or not. If we get to the dart throw territory, say you lost Joe Burrow, right? If your options are starting Flacco, Browning, DeVito seems to be a little bit better, but Flacco, Browning, DTR, O'Connell, Boyle. If you're super flexing them or a wide receiver 3, low end tight end 1, tight end 2, like what do you think you'd rather do? You're just playing a position player here? Would you rather play a flex position player than one of these backup super flex options?
I think I would. If I have like a dependable guy that I could stream, like he's a wide receiver 3, like I'd rather take that route just because you have no idea how good these quarterbacks. Like Boyle has some rushing, DTR has some rushing, but they're just terrible passers, right? We don't know anything about Browning. He's been a career backup. Flacco's just dust. DeVito's is somewhat rushing, but outside of that Washington game, that offense has been atrocious. So I think that's kind of an outlier scenario for him. So yeah, it's rough, man. If you have guys you can play and stream over them, absolutely. Like I'll happily take the wide receiver 3, giving me 10 to 12 points. No problem with that.
For me, like I'll trust the weapons for the quarterbacks, and that means Browning, weapons and scheme. So I'd prefer him over any of these guys. And even Aiden O'Connell, he's just so young. He's got 2 nice receivers. He's got a decent young tight end. He's got a good back. So those 2 I'd prefer, Browning first, then O'Connell over everyone else. But again, if I can avoid them, I will.
I'm going to make a live change in this little article I've got going, so you'll have to bear with me. But it would be to add someone that I forgot. I think he is in the under 10% range here because I was assuming he wasn't going to be the starter, but the Falcons have said they're going back to Desmond Ridder. What do you guys think about? I assume you're playing Ridder over pretty much everyone in that bottom tier, or how do you feel?
Yeah, I would. He's been a better fantasy asset. Not a good quarterback, but a better fantasy asset. At least. He can give you.
He's closer to low.
Right? Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, I'd rather fire him up for sure. Or even like Bryce Young. A lot of people are pretty out on Bryce Young, but I'm taking a good quality starting quarterback over the bottom tier, so him as well too.
Yeah.
All right. Agreed. Let's move on to the running backs. I'm going to check my sleeper here quickly because I don't believe it's too early in the week for a update here on Walker, but I'm going to double check anyways. DNP on Monday estimates this makes sense. He's listed as doubtful. Did they play? They play
Yeah, they play Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, so he's going to be out.
Yeah, he's out.
Which means if you need a running back, he's your league winner. I don't know. What are your thoughts here? I guess we'll start with him before we get into it with Zach Charbonnet, because like if you need to win this week, he's week 12 now? Week 12. If you're in a must win, he's basically a drop all your fab budget scenario. Agree?
Yeah, him or Singletary would be the two running backs that I'm like, I'm going all in on those guys. Because at least you're getting upside. And we've seen Singletary in that offense. He looks really good. It's funny that it says Denver on your thing, even though he plays for the different team. But yeah, like they're both like he's
Hey,
being
what?
a much better running back.
What did I do?
First, Devin Singletary, it says he plays for Denver as opposed to Houston.
Fuck me.
It's not a big deal. Stories.
No, it's
That's
annoying
why Jordan
as
Love
shit.
plays.
I'm OCD,
Jordan
and
Love-
my little mistake is annoying as shit. That bothers the hell.
Aaron, Jordan Love plays for Denver too, up above. So we're all good. We're just giving everybody. Denver gets all the mediocre players.
So if they suck, I must have just put them on Denver.
That's fair.
I guess so. Well, the thing is, like, Singletary's been good this year. Hey, we got a comment, by the way. I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, our answer questions. They traded Jefferson and Nico for Amon-Ra. Like, yeah, I don't mind this deal.
Don't hate it.
With like, it's a premium because you're paying Nico, but like you're getting Amon-Ra, so you're getting a guaranteed. Yeah, it's just steep. It's real steep. Like I'd be fine going Jefferson Amon-Ra, like that transition, but like
Did anybody catch
the Nico
that?
just seems like that's.
I'm heavily medicated here I've had a little bit of cough syrup here because I'm homesick. Did anybody catch that? Look on the screen. I updated it.
Oh, Buffalo. Hey,
Still the wrong team.
Hey, he was good in Buffalo one time. We'll just keep it. It's fine.
No, we're good. Now it's Houston. I have the app open so I could update these articles on the fly. But yeah, apparently my brain is at half speed, so don't trust me. I'm gonna give no advice today. I'm just gonna let you guys do the talking.
But yeah.
No, you got it, Jesse.
Oh, I was gonna say the nice thing for him is he has Puka and Amon-Ra, and he has two like high-end wide receiver ones, because particularly with the cup injury, like I don't expect him to play. He might play or not, but like Puka's just been the better wide receiver in that offense, so he's gonna be high on wide receiver one. You have Amon-Ra, you have Brees, you have Swift, you have the mystery bag that is Pollard, and then you can fire up Devonta Flex and Garrett Wilson when you want to. So it just like helps your team out.
I had this Jefferson conversation with a buddy from work who has Jefferson and needs him, and I'm a little fuzzy on the situation. So it was my understanding that if Jefferson didn't play this week, this was week 3, it was his cutoff and he's done for the year. But according to what he found on Twitter, he thinks that they got the cutoff date and he can be benched this week, and then he can be played after the bye again. Anybody have any idea?
My understanding is there's one more week, especially the way the coaches are talking about it. They're very tongue-in-cheek about, he looks okay. He might be available. So I think they're playing with it, but I'm not sure about it.
Okay, so then
they can also just activate him and not play him. Like they could have him on the roster, and like they could go that route too. So like if they wanted, if it's like a week or so away, so like they can still get him on it.
My thought was that they gotta play him this week. If they had won on Monday night, or did they play Sunday night? If they had won Sunday night, I think they can afford to wait out another week. But they need to win. So I don't know. That one scares me. I could see going either way. I hated to
like this is like I get it. Like this makes sense why I did the trade, because like you're so trying to get into playoffs, you have to make a move. So if you don't have Jefferson this week, right? It's like you got to go get somebody.
I think you do have Jefferson this week, though, is what I think.
Yeah. I just don't think you wanted to risk it. So like I don't mind it, and he's not playing Nico like with his wide receiver core. That's just
the Lions have the Bears.
So,
and who do the Texans have?
I screwed up. Is it still bleeding?
Hey, bleed out on your own time, Jesse. We're trying to do
you go. while Jesse checks that and fights for his life, just a quick point that Aaron made earlier. Aaron gave some good advice in saying that, like, if you need these guys, just drop all your fab. But here's the other thing. Like, if you're trading for guys at this point in the season, you don't have to win the trade. As Jesse and Aaron have said time and time again on this pod and elsewhere, what you have to do is you have to make your team better. And this makes your team better in the short term. Amon-Ra is good for those points. We know the ball really isn't going anywhere else with Jefferson, Dobbs, and Flux, and who knows what's going on in that offense. And if Minnesota is going to be viable, Jefferson will get his, but how long is it going to take? Amon-Ra makes your team better in the short term.
And that's a very good point, because I had this, it's situational too at this point, and sometimes you have to make the worst deal. The example I used was last year in my work league. We got to the last week of the season. I was the number 2 or something. I was clinched. I was in, I had a bye clinched up. So I offered my Dak Prescott, who didn't have a great year last year, for the other guy's Jalen Hurts. And he messaged me and said, "What are you, stupid? Why would I ever take that deal? Jalen Hurts, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, you look, next week, you're in a must-win situation. Jalen Hurts is on bye, and there are no other quarterbacks for you to pick up." And he ended up taking the deal, and I got Jalen Hurts, who I shouldn't have gotten because, I used that in my, excuse me, to my advantage because another manager was desperate. So if you are in a good position, go take advantage of the situation. If you're in that situation, you got to do what you got to do. You know, Jalen Hurts doesn't do you any good if he's on bye and you miss the playoffs. And I see the
Yes. Don't worry about winning the deal. Worry about winning the league. That's bottom line.
Yeah. Well, worry about winning the league or the week. You can't get into the playoffs if you don't win the week. So if you don't make the playoffs. Hey guys, I'm 9-1. My team is Tua, CMC, Pollard, Cup, Waddle, and Dell. Bench is Fields, Warren, Charbonnet, Darrell, Keaton, Olave, Deontay. That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Should I trade Tua and Olave for ETN or Swift? This is single QB, I'm assuming.
I would
assuming
say
so.
maybe Swift. ETN's got a brutal schedule coming up. That's my only concern.
I was going to say absolutely not on Swift. I think I hold because I don't trust Fields. I'd rather have Tua for the playoffs than Fields.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about Fields, honestly. But, like,
Agree.
it depends because you're buying into another receiver. It's just you have CMC. You just don't have that second wide or running back beside you, Pollard. So it's you could roll. You have Warren Charbonnet, though. Like, I don't think you need to make this deal, honestly.
If you wanted to make a deal like this, I would rather give up Fields than Olave.
Yeah, I'd target a different running back also. But, like, they have Warren and they have Charbonnet, so they can plug Warren in. He'll give them points. And you get Charbonnet this week. It might not be the best, but, like, you have him with upside, too. So I don't think you need to make this deal for ETN or Swift.
Yeah, and I'm also not super concerned about Pollard. I think he's going to be somewhere in the middle of where he's been and what he did this past week. He'll be a serviceable RB2 rest of the way.
I think Warren is more usable than you would imagine.
Agreed.
Too.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't know if I make this deal. I definitely don't give up Tua. I don't know if I make this deal at all.
But you need to consolidate. Yeah. You got too much on the bench here. If you can give up, if someone's high on Keaton, if someone's high on Deontay, JSN at this point, just consolidate and make a move and upgrade.
I'm not trading, depending on when your trade deadline is. Excuse me, I'm done. I don't think I trade Deontay yet. I want to see what Deontay does in his first week without Matt Canada, and then maybe try and sell high.
I'd aim to upgrade your wide receiver room or your running back room on one of these. Like the Olave deal, you could just upgrade Olave's position to a better wide receiver. You don't have to go after a running back, but like you also have Waddle, who's super interesting. He's up or down. He had the cup injury, so like I'm trying to get true difference makers, and Olave is not been that. So like I'm trying to go higher. So like go for one of those top 5 wide receivers, see if you can do it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at desperate teams too. Like if a desperate team has someone like Keenan Allen, right? I'm good packaging Olave and Deontay on the Matt Canada firing hype, and trying to go after a guy like that to upgrade if a guy needs a 2-for-1 deal, especially in redraft, you can get that done.
That's exactly it, man. If your trade deadline doesn't end like until after next week is a great week, man. There are so many people who are going to be in must-win situations in the middle of Bipocalypse or Bimageddon or whatever. I think it's absolutely just a great spot. All right, we'll get into the rest of the running backs as my voice fades here. In the shallow leagues, we have Devin Singletary and Jalen Warren, both about to hit the top range here and be out of the shallow options. They're both 78, 79%. Zach Charbonnet is only at 51%. He's going to be the hottest waiver out of the week. That will change. Darrell Henderson, Keaton Mitchell, who's still only at 58. Ty Chandler, who I actually prefer. Okay, ignoring Singletary and Warren because I think they're way owned. I think besides Charbonnet, I prefer Chandler over anyone else. Then we have Tyjae Spears. And you get to Hail Mary territory here is Latavius Murray, Chris Rodriguez, Royce Freeman, Jeff Wilson, Ty Johnson, Salvin Ahmed, Dearness Johnson, and Rico Dowdle. I think as scary as it is, the best dart throw here is Royce Freeman. That's horrifying. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one with Royce. Like it's just they're bringing back Kyron. Like I don't. It's just really tough. Like Kyron's going to be the RB1 there, so it's going to hurt both those guys. But yeah, like I mean, if he's injured and it works out, yeah, I get you. But realistically, that bottom range is just it's tough, man. Like it's a hard path for every single one of those guys. Dottle probably has the easiest path because all he needs is really a Pollard injury, and then he steps right into it. The other guys, it's really crowded. Like I mean, Ty Chandler, kind of, sort of, but you know, Madison's still playing, so it's just up and down. But yeah, if you can get one of those clear-cut guys in the top three, like Charbonnet, Singletary, or Warren, then absolutely, like, just drop everything you can to get one of those guys because they can be a true difference maker for you. And like that's the league winner. That's what we're chasing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Chandler is he got a lot more run last week, but Alexander Madison still got 18 carries, and though he didn't find the end zone, he put together 81 yards on those, and he was running with some sort of fire. Probably because he realized he's about to lose his job because he's looked terrible all season. But yeah, I don't really want any of those guys in the bottom. Like you hit the nail on the head. Rico is probably the guy I want most, especially because Dallas has such a good schedule. He could just come in for mop-up duty a few times here and get you flex level points. I would prefer Henderson over Royce Freeman just because of their roles in that offense. With Kyron coming back, it's more likely that he's taking over the Royce Freeman role in the goal line stuff, but you just don't know there. So, yeah, I agree. The top level looks great. Charbonnet could be a league winner. Keaton Mitchell is even really interesting. He's vying for more touches. So, if you have to bet on anyone, I guess it's Rico. And maybe I go Tajay Spears over Ty Chandler personally.
Yeah, it sucks with Henry. Like I wish they would have traded Henry to make so much more sense. Oh yeah. Also, this is George's follow-up question. He said, should we be worried about Warren with Canada being fired? And I'm like, I mean, the interesting thing is like Warren was limited with the previous offensive coordinator, right? And there was a tweet going around today where it showed the new OC highlighting Najee in college. And I'm like, that's not the Najee Harris we have here, folks. So don't think that's a 1-for-1 thing. Like Najee looks actively worse. Warren just looks better, and you just got to trust the talent that the new OC is going to see it, and he's going to give Warren more touches. So I would honestly be more excited than worried because he was capped in the last situation.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm the only thing I'd say is like Matt Canada's fired, hooray. But, Kenny Pickett still sucks, right? This offense is still kind of going to be what this offense is. I don't think it's just a Matt Canada problem. But I agree with you. Warren is the guy that you want.
Sorry, I was flipping things around. It keeps annoying me. Jeremy gets no screen time here because every time we put up a question, it covers your entire fight. I'm going to put it up. We'll read it, and then I'll take it down. Since I'm in playoffs, should I give up Cooper Kupp right before the deadline or wait it out? That depends what you can get for him.
Also, where are you at in playoff situation? Yeah. Are you like gonna be locked in playoffs, or are you like fighting for playoffs?
If you're locked in, just
fighting
wait
for
it
playoffs. Out. Yeah. If you're fighting for playoffs, I'm trading them away. I'll take what I can get. Like I'm just gonna because like you need that production, right? So like this is the team build that we're talking about.
So here's the question: is like who would you be willing to give up if you're getting Cooper Kupp at this point?
Yeah, like Devontae Smith, take him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's that range of player. Like, I don't think you may be able to get maybe Devontae. Somebody's still worried about that. Like it's gonna be like a wide receiver 2 type guy. You could try and go. Good luck. You can't get Tank Dell anymore. It's like so it's just you could try, but it's not gonna happen. So
Jaden
I don't know. It's a tough situation.
Yeah, like I said, like you said, it goes down to where you are in the standings. I think Kupp plays, so I'd rather hold on to him. But if you are in win now at this point, it all goes out the window. You do what you got to do. If you got to give him up for a wide receiver 3 who will play, tied for first right now, just hold on.
Yeah, I think it's a low ankle as well. So not.
I'm not taking Nico Collins for him.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you could get one of these like running backs up here, these top tier running backs, like I'd be fine doing that type of deal if you needed a running back. But outside of that, like
he said Nico. I'm not willing to do it for Nico. I just hold on to Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, like Nico's good, but Kupp's definitely a level or 2 above that. So
yeah, I think that one
hurts. But yeah, you're in first. You don't need to make the steal. You can just hold it. Unless you just don't think he's gonna play, then obviously trade him.
I think he plays
this. Back.
Yeah. So, all right. So my favorite ones here, obviously Charbonnet's the prize. Then I like Singletary, Warren, Chandler, Spears. Basically, I don't mind anybody. I don't like Henderson or Mitchell in these two. Other than that, I like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like 5 options here. I don't really want anyone out of that dart throw range unless it's a 1 week Hail Mary option. Thoughts?
I'm with you. Yeah, it makes sense. So how are you guys worried about? Because like this, I posted that he's the league winner, Charbonnet, and I got so many responses about his schedule. I was like, dude, I get it. His schedule is not great, but like Walker was still top 10 running back. Like he's going to see volume and he's going to see more passing down work. Like there's a case where it's a good scenario for him. Like, are you guys more worried about him or Singletary? I guess.
Let's see.
I'm not.
Philly, Tennessee.
What do you got?
Pittsburgh. Philly, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. That's not
For who? For Charbonnet?
It's
That's
not.
not terrible.
No, that's Warren's. Charbonnet's
Yeah,
got
that's
San
Walker.
Francisco,
San
Dallas,
Francisco,
San
Dallas,
Francisco,
San Francisco, Philly.
What?
Philadelphia.
That is rough.
That's
rough.
Charbonnet's schedule. It's brutal. It's rough.
Yeah. Tennessee, Pittsburgh to round it out. So yeah, it's all
Yeah.
tough matchups.
No,
I
I read 15, 16, 17. It's Philly, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. Oh, you read the
yeah.
next two. Oh, I thought you said playoff schedule. That's why I skipped San Fran, Dallas, San Fran.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah.
It's a concern, especially with Walker. I mean, there's nothing definitive right now, right? And also Pete Carroll said that Kenny Mack is the RB1.
To the front, yeah. I was like, dude.
So who knows what's happening there?
That's
a little bit
the
worried,
levels of
a little bit
optimism for Pete Carroll. Dude, it's wild. It's wild like that here.
All right, wide receivers. I have Jaden Reed as the top one here. It's kind of mixed bag of Packers receivers here. One of them's good every week. For shallow league options, I have Dotson, JSN, and Cortland Sutton, who is probably not available anymore. He was at 79% going into this week. It will be higher now. Medium league, I have KJ Osborne, Dobbs, Christian Watson. Deeper leagues, Rondale Moore, Jaden Reed, OBJ. Dart throws, we've got Tutu, Robert Woods, Khalil Shakir, Darius Slayton, Jameson Williams, and Dontavian Wicks. What stands out for you guys there?
I mean, just on Cortland Sutton real quick is that he has only not scored a touchdown in 2 of his 10 games. He did it again last week. Russell Wilson is just looking for him in the red zone, and they're connecting. So, like, if Cortland Sutton by some miracle is on your waiver wire, just drop it all. Go get him. He's looking good. Cleveland is a rough one. But then Houston, the Chargers, Detroit, New England, who's way out of it, and the Chargers again. It's setting up real nice for Cortland Sutton to right now. He's wide receiver 18. He can jump up to high end wide receiver 2 status, potentially flirt with wide receiver 11 or 12 if he keeps scoring, putting the ball in the end zone.
I lost my mind and traded for Sutton this morning in a dynasty league, so I hope he's good. I don't think I have any shares of him.
I have an interesting offer I'm asking you guys. So someone's offering me Derrick Henry for Jahan Dotson, one of my dynasty teams. Jahan Dotson's just chilling on my bench. But you guys take this deal? I'm also like the number 2 seed. So like
I take it. His playoff schedule.
Henry's playoff schedule is nice. He's got like 2 good matchups back to back coming up.
Yeah, I think I take that.
And you're getting Dotson?
No, you're getting.
No, I'm giving up Dotson. Getting Derrick Henry for Dotson.
Yeah. I'd take Henry. I think the biggest issue with Henry is his offensive line. It's been the biggest issue for him all year. You have to just kind of assume that Henry does what Henry does in December and comes through in at least some of those games for sure.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning. I was just like, oh, I just hate buying into the 30-year-old running back. I was like, okay. But yeah. For these wide receivers though, like I think you're right. Like Reed's very interesting, but we've seen that whole play out with all 4 wide receivers. Like you don't know how it's going to shake out each week. It's very, very interesting. JSN's coming on more. He's running the routes. Like he's playing the role. So they can figure it out, get that offense moving in the right way. But they got some tough matchups, and the Geno Smith injury doesn't have me worried how good he's going to be, because he's supposed to play, but it's an elbow injury. It's like a massive bicep contusion or something. So it doesn't sound good for throwing, right? But then you drop down. Cortland Sutton seems by far the safest one of these guys. Like then it's just upside. You're shooting for the upside, Christian Watson. You hope it works out. Then you get down here, Rondale Moore. Like I don't know. Like he got 1 target last week, so that does not seem very, very dependable, right? And then it's just really just start throws down here. Like Tutu Atwell could have some good games. Robert Wood, you know what you're getting. Jameson Williams, he's kind of similar to Rondale Moore. It's like you need a big play. All right, touchdown, but I don't trust the target. So yeah, I think it's clearly if you get those top guys, particularly Courtland Sutton, like Jeremy was saying, I'm spending it on Courtland Sutton to get him.
Yeah, and the one guy I'll bring up as well, who's a bit lower on this list, and it's ugly, and you might throw up dropping all your fab on it, but Odell Beckham, right? We just don't know exactly how it's going to shake out with Mark Andrews done. I'll tell you this: Isaiah Likely and whatever combination of tight ends they're rolling out in Baltimore is not going to get 100% of Mark Andrews' workload, right? It's going to go elsewhere. Flowers can only do so much, so maybe it's Aguilar, right, or some other pieces over there. But Odell Beckham, I do not mind as kind of a dart throw. He's been, in the last 5 games, he had 3 games with 7 targets. So that's what you're looking for in terms of volume.
Yeah, and I was just looking I don't see Pop Douglas on here. If he's available in your leagues, I would get him too. He's a wide receiver one. He's seen plenty of targets, and he's actually been a really good wide receiver. So if he's available, go target Pop Douglas as well.
Would you trade Mixon and Deontay for Swift? No. Mixon's better than Swift.
Hang on. Yeah, but that offense redraft, isn't going to move without Burrow.
No, this is going to give everything to Mixon.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very similar on points per game basis. So, it just seems that Deontay's just a throw-in at that point.
Give me Mixon.
He actually has upside.
I might do that one. I might take Swift.
I mean, Swift's been super efficient. It's just I worry about his overall workload. He just seems limited. Hurts gets the touchdowns. It's kind of just is what it is. But yeah, I think he's much better running back. No doubt about it. It's just Mixon has the best situation in the NFL. It's just crazy. But we got to take into the injury without Joe Burrow now. So I actually might take that deal after. But
I'm taking Mixon.
Yeah, I think I might.
All right. Yeah. Let's round it off here with tight ends. Trey McBride is the obvious.
One more.
What's that?
Got one more in the chat.
It's a big boy deal.
Waddle, Kamara, Addison for AJB, B-Rob, and B-Rob.
I think
AJB.
I actually don't mind this deal.
Well, yeah, so he's got Eckler, which we're all a little bit concerned about. Gibbs, we know, is locked in. So it's really who do you want? Honestly, for me, it's who do you want? Do you want B-Rob or do you want Kamara rest of the season? I think it's almost a wash, crazily enough.
Yeah.
So what's your wide receiver situation? Do you want the high end AJB or do you need the depth of Addison and Waddle?
I don't think you need the depth on this deal. Do you see his roster? I think this is you're good.
Give me AJ
the person
Brown.
right here doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah.
Going down from AJ Brown to Addison and those guys Waddle, it's just super interesting.
I want the AJ Brown side.
Yeah, me too. And Brian Robinson, he's been fantastic. I'm just done.
Yeah, he's RB4 right now.
Just as good as Kamara. So I'm fine with those two. You have Eckler, you have Gibbs, you have a bunch of different
Jefferson.
things.
So no need to have Jefferson and Addison. Addison's going to start losing points. So.
And he's got Calvin Ridley, right? So, so he's good to go, right? Aaron?
Now that Zay Jones is back,
Calvin
Ridley, baby. Too funny.
I'll take the AJB side.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's move on to the tight ends. We have the obvious one here. Can he unmute himself or do I have to unmute him?
I think I could have.
I wasn't sure. I seen you laughing like you knew I muted you, but you weren't sure. Yeah, good deal there. All right, tight ends. Trey McBride's the obvious one at 79%. Shallow league, Trey McBride is the only option. Medium leagues, we have Freiermuth, Musgrave, Logan Thomas. Deeper leagues, Higbee and Otten. Don't love Higbee at all. Dart throws are ugly. Parham, Likely, Conklin. Smart, Schoonmaker, Hudson, Bellinger. I don't really want any of them. I know people are going to lose their mind over Isaiah Likely, but I'm not all that impressed. Having said that, he's probably the best of the dart throws. I might take Parham over him, but I'm just stubborn. So what do you guys think?
I'm not. Of those guys, I'll take the upside touch Likely. We've seen him be good in small sample sizes. So it's better than whatever else is the bottom. But if Trey McBride's available, throw 100% of your fab on him. I don't even care. He's the focal point of the Arizona offense. It's not Hollywood. It's not any of those other guys. It's Trey McBride. He's true difference maker status. His role is absurd. He's running every route. He's playing every snap. They're using him downfield. This is exactly what you want. So if you have a chance to get him, go get Trey McBride. Just go get him. Don't worry about it. He's difference maker.
Yeah, and I would drop any of these guys for him. Freiermuth, you just don't know what you're getting It's a mystery bag. Logan Thomas is the other one that's interesting to me. We know Howell is throwing at an insane clip. I looked into this week. He is first in the league in pass attempts by 60, right? That's a full game and a half easily from a high volume, from like his own volume, a full game and a half ahead of anyone else. He's throwing an insane clip, and he's the QB4 because of it, right? So Logan Thomas is just seeing that volume. I haven't looked into the tight end volume, but I imagine his is up there and pretty high, even though he's missed a few games. Cade Otton's also interesting. He's getting that work between him. It can't all go to Rachaad White, but Baker is checking down at an unreal rate. So Cade Otton is getting a lot of that work as well. Isaiah Likely is also interesting for me.
The thing that worries me with Otton, I loved him too, but last week he dropped an easy touchdown. Baker looked pissed off on the sideline and then didn't go back to him again after that. So I'm worried Baker may hold a grudge. So we'll see how that plays out.
Dude, Otton's weird. He's been like running a ton of routes. Like he's been involved in he's just not seeing enough targets.
I'm getting
so he's definitely
tweets,
running the cardio role.
I'm getting tweets about Cam Newton trying to make a return. Good God.
Oh, bring him back.
Well,
put him on the Jets, baby.
Any of you guys make the playoffs in Scott Fishbowl?
No, I missed it
Barely,
by like 60
yes.
points. Jerry did. That's all
I made it by like 20 points.
I was second last in my league. My draft started off. Cup, Chubb, Taylor, and anyways, I was without like my first 5 draft picks. So yeah, I did not start well. I think I started off at one point. I think I was 1-8 or something like that. And I ended up, I got on a good roll when I got my guys back, but I'm under 500 and I missed the playoffs. So.
My 2 quarterbacks at the end of the year were Bryce Young Will Levis and the freaking, who was it? It's like Zach Wilson or something. Those were my 2 quarterbacks of the season in Scott Fishbowl. So that tells you all you need to know about that you're with for me.
Mine were Bryce Young and Kenny Pickett.
Nice. I'm still rolling with Aiden O'Connell as QB2 at the moment, but we got Kyler in there and JJ is coming back. So maybe we make a little push here.
Let's do it.
Oh, that helped me. That's not true. I had Kyler as well, but by the time I got Kyler back, I was already dead and buried. Which sucks. Yeah. Last year I missed the cutoff by 0.4. So it is what it is.
That's brutal. Yeah, just injuries. It happens, man. It's part of it, unfortunately.
All right. Well, that is a wrap on the Week 12 Fantasy Football Waiver Wire. You're going to have to check our Twitter to find out the schedule. We're working things out. We've got some early games, obviously Thanksgiving and then Black Friday. So we're going to have to improvise. Normally, we would be back Thursday, but we're going to try and put something together. I'm homesick now, so my schedule is open. So could be later today, could be tomorrow at some point, whatever is good for these 2 guys. We're going to get something together early. We'll have the first preview will be the Thanksgiving games, the 3 of them, and the Black Friday game. We will then get in Thursday, Friday, back to the normal previews. So stay tuned. Like I said, check one of the 3 of us on Twitter, and we will update you when we are back next with the Thanksgiving games, because obviously we can't do it at our normal time Thursday because kickoff will have already happened. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you at some point tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving for those of you in the States. Unlike me, I'm in Canada. We had Thanksgiving 3 weeks ago. So take care, everyone. Have a good day.
Later.